and all without much trouble. And it's good to actually be here at a new location. And I look forward to today's meeting. Now, before I start, I would like you to keep a few things in mind. One, watch what you say so you don't say anything that can offend or hurt others. Two, for those of you who are joining us online, please keep your device on mute. For those of us who are here in person, please take a few seconds to put your mobile phones on silent. I will give you 10 seconds. And three, please keep your masks on unless you're up here on stage speaking. So the theme for today's meeting is everything you need is on the other side of fear. This is something I really like about this theme because it says so much about life lessons and how you achieve your goals. Because the one major thing that holds us back is our fear. We worry about people's opinions, we worry about whether we'll fail. And this is something I learned when I first started swimming. When I was a child, I almost drowned twice at the river near my grandmother's house. And I didn't learn swimming till I reached adulthood. And I went in there to the pool finally, and I was scared because I had never really been in the water and learned to swim properly. But I pushed myself, and at the end of my swimming lessons, I discovered that I really loved swimming. And today, anytime I'm stressed, I go right into the pool because swimming is so relaxing for me. So yes, fear is something that does hold us back. But if you push through it, you'll achieve so much and you get things that you need and everything that you wanted to achieve. Now, coming up on stage next is a person who works at Indian Machine Tools Manufacturers Association. She works at the Director General's office and she works with marketing, where she promotes exhibitions at the association. So, with a thunderous round of applause, help me welcome our club president, Toastmaster Hannah Victoria.
Very good evening to my fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests.
Good evening. Good evening.
I now declare meeting 1316 open. For the benefit of the guests, the Bangalore Toastmasters Club, the Toastmasters is a platform where you learn and practice public speaking skills. The Bangalore Toastmasters Club is a 25-year-old club and we are a community club. Here you get to learn from the experiences of an 18-year-old, from an 18-year-old to a 72-year-old. Here we get to experiment different things at the club in public speaking. If you'd like to know more about Toastmasters, I please request you to meet our Vice President membership, Toastmaster George. If you may please stand. During the break, he will explain to you more about Toastmasters. Yes. May I now call upon our charming secretary, Toastmaster Kirtana, to please present the minutes of the meeting 1315.
Good evening, my dear Toastmasters and fellow guests.
Good evening.
The previous meeting number 1315 the theme was finding one important thing in your life doesn't mean you have to give up all the other important things. The word of the day was magnanimous, meaning generous. We had our meeting started at 6. No.
6:32.
Yeah, 6:32. And by our Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster Chaitra, preceding which we had Toastmaster Hannah, our president, giving her presidential speech, and post which we had the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Varsha, conducting the meeting very smoothly, weaving all the events so well. We had 3 prepared speeches, Toastmaster Puneet, DTM Rajdeep, and DTM Sumitra, whose evaluators were Toastmaster Srijit, Toastmaster Vaidyanathan, and Toastmaster Robinson D'Souza, respectively. We had a break and we had our delicious snacks given to us by Toastmaster Sureka. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sureka, ma'am, for giving us different variety of snacks every single meeting. After that, we had table topic session conducted by table topic master Toastmaster Alok Simha. He had topics related to the day we were celebrating International Women's Day. The meeting was then evaluated by the general evaluator, Toastmaster Vanitha Rangarajan, DTM Vanitha Rangarajan, helped with her target team members, Toastmaster Sanjana, Toastmaster Utkarsh, Toastmaster Nazneen, and Toastmaster Pratik Uttappa. We had total of 38 members present, and the members present were 26 and the guests were 12, and we had the meeting ended at 9 p.m. Over to you.
Any amendments to the minutes being presented? I declare meeting number 1, minutes of the meeting 1315 as passed. Coming to the theme of today's meeting, everything is on the other side of fear. This is a quote by Jack Canfield, the author of the book Chicken Soup for the Soul. I will first talk to you about how fear is such a powerful emotion. Being fearless is absolutely dangerous. We are the worst leaders, for example, Adolf Hitler. On the other hand, having the fear and yet moving forward, doing it anyway, is a great leader. We need to aspire to be courageous. Courage comes only when there is fear. So we need to aspire to be courageous leaders. Kamala Hassan, he says in one of his movies, he says, I pretend to be fearless. So that is his hack of overcoming his fear. Simon Sinek, he says in one of his interviews that whenever he has the fear, he cites his mind to say, I'm excited. He says, once I was traveling in an aeroplane and there was a lot of turbulence. And then he said, man, I'm excited. So that way he overcame his fear. I'd also like to talk to you about fear, how it affects our personality. One of the fears which we face is the fear of commitment. Commitment to either saying yes to marriage, to start a family, to buy a house, or Toastmasters. So I will talk to you about the commitment towards Toastmasters. Every week we have roles, we have speeches, and it's all for our own personal development. This is the only platform where you are moving yourself forward, you're improving yourself, and in turn you will make the others around you much more better. When I started my journey in Toastmasters, it took me 3 months to start my icebreaker speech. That time the VP Education was Abhay Kothari. 1 week before the icebreaker, I called him up and said I need to postpone it. So he said, nothing doing, you better do the speech. So I did it. Then when Toastmaster Ayappa asked me to join the committee, I was afraid. I was afraid that I will not be able to keep the commitment. But when I was the Vice President PR, it taught me designing, something I'm aware of marketing, but I did not know actual designing. It taught me that. Vice President Education taught me selling. I could sell membership, speech crafts, it taught me that. Vice President Education got me down on my knees more often. I became much more holy. Why? Because come Thursday and Friday, I would be so afraid to look at that WhatsApp, because I'm so afraid to say, to read the messages, to say I'm not coming, I'm here, I'm there. But the sense of satisfaction, I'm sure Toastmaster, who's the current, Toastmaster Smitha, who's the current VP Education, would agree. The satisfaction that comes after the meeting is wrapped up with, that satisfaction is well worth all the trials and all the time you've put into it. So my friends, Toastmasters is a platform where you develop yourself, and you giving it time, be it giving your speeches, taking up roles, or in the committee, it is well worth your time. Sumitra ma'am always says, each member must be a part of the committee. It will groom you to an extent which you wouldn't imagine yourself to be. Moving forward to the Toastmaster of today. This gentleman has been in our club for the last 25 years. He's been a charter member of our club, been a past president, and he was telling me, I asked him for one question, you renewed all the 25 years? So he said, even when I was not in India, I renewed my membership. So, and this gentleman has been an area director, he has been a club coach director, and he's been the chairman of the logistics committee for the one of the functions. Please join me to welcome Toastmaster Vaichur Umakant.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. A very good evening to all Toastmasters and guests here.
Good evening.
Good evening. Life will knock you out. It is up to us what we choose to get up or no. This was a conversation that happened in the movie, The Karate Kid, between the coach and his disciple. That was between Jackie Smith and Jackie Chan and Adam Smith. This morning when I got up, I got up with something strange. I had a running nose, and I was wondering whether I could be the master of ceremony today. And I was well prepared with everything, and I wanted to do this role for quite some time, and I got this opportunity. I didn't want to slip it out. But the running nose which I had was something, I knew whether I could do it or no. And I did call up Toastmaster Joes. Are you going to take up as a replacement for me? He said no. He said his mother-in-law is coming from Kerala and he needs to be there as a good boy at home. But I see him go here. Oh, that's it. I thought, let me do it. I took my shower and I felt refreshed and everything disappeared. I had the choice to face up and run, or face everything and rise. I took the face everything and rise. That's fear, right? Toastmasters helps us with overcoming the fear that we have in us. Coming over here to the stage, to the lectern, and giving that speech, or taking any role in Toastmasters itself is a challenge. You're coming out from your position of comfort to an uncomfortable position over here to speak. Toastmasters, as the president said, is one which blends you, makes you a gentleman, helps you to communicate properly, helps you to ensure that you rise in your career. And this movement started in the year 1924 by visionary Toastmaster Ralph Smedley. It's been almost a century now. But Toastmasters in India started in the year 1990 by Toastmaster Subramanian Chittur. And later, the Bangalore Toastmasters came into existence in the year 1996, which was started by the stalwarts Toastmasters D'Souza Robinson, Toastmaster Claudius Pereira, Toastmaster Anil Rego, and Toastmaster Siraj. The things that went through those days, when we started, it took a lot of time, a lot of effort. It almost took a year for us to charter. These days, the clubs just get chartered in a month's time. We took a year and 2 months, I think, to get ourselves chartered. It's been a wonderful journey of Toastmasters. I'm sure every person in this club will enjoy the journey that goes through. The Toastmasters meeting has 3 different sessions. One, you have the speech session. The second, you have the table topic session. And the third is the general evaluation. The Toastmaster who's going to lead us into the general evaluation session is a Toastmaster par excellence, a truly inspirational leader. His life and times have been really inspiring. I'm sure you need to meet him in person and talk to him of his life, how Toastmasters has changed him. I could say he is one of the charter members, and his efforts to help the Toastmasters movement in Bangalore is second to none. He's put in a lot of effort to bring up this club, right from small things to making a lectern, to making a timer card, a lot of things that he's done for this club. He's worked his way up, been the managing director of a company, and now he's the vice president, he's the senior vice president. Please welcome the general evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Somshekhar.
Thank you, Toastmaster Umakant. I think I will talk more about the role later, as I got some story to connect to that. But of course, primary purpose to evaluate this meeting and give my feedback during the evaluation session. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the R counter, Manikantan. If you could just speak one line about your role.
Good evening, Toastmaster and guests. Good evening. We depend on relatives, friends for support, right? It's an habit. We seek help from others. Same way that habit spills over to our speech also. We use certain interjections like so, well, such as, and. And sometimes what happens, we use cosmic sounds like ah, oh. So today my role is to identify what are the words we are using and the sounds we are making. and at the end of the meeting, I would report it and call upon you. Thank you.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Good evening. To know the value of a year, ask a student who has failed a grade. To know the value of a second, ask somebody who has just missed a car accident. To know the value of a millisecond, ask somebody who has just missed out on the gold medal at the Olympics. To ask somebody the value of a minute, ask someone who has just missed the bus. Today, I will be recording the time and duration of the entire meeting, essentially in minutes. Whilst we have no buses to catch, it is important for us to keep to time. For the speeches, there are 4 to 6 minutes. I will show the green card on 4 minutes, the yellow on 5 minutes, and the red on 6 minutes. For the speeches that are 5 to 7 minutes, I will show the green, yellow, and red on 5, 6, and 7 minutes respectively. For table topics, 1, 1.5, and 2 minutes respectively. And for the evaluation, 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, and the final red card on 4 minutes. Thank you, and the formal Thank you. We have the listener in Dr. Mohan Kumar. If you could just speak about your role.
Good evening, Toastmasters and everything. My role is as a listener, I have to listen some important phrases and sentences and ask you whether you are all attentive or not. Thank you.
So we have the grammarian Vijayan. Can you speak about your role?
Yeah. As a grammarian, I'll introduce the word of the day. The word of the day is gleam. Gleam is a verb, G-L-E-A-M, which means shine brightly. So let me give you an example of how to use gleam. My son's hopes of not going to school gleamed with the new variant of COVID. So as a grammarian, I'll be noting down the good usages of English language as well as a bit not so good usage of the English language, and I'll come back at the end of the day.
Yeah, we have a lot of gleam over here, the shining heads out over here. And let's start the first session of Toastmasters of our meeting. So we have a speaker who will be speaking about himself. But before I go over there, let me introduce his evaluator, Lokesh T. He is a content writer. He's big time into sports, music, and is a leader. Vivacious reader. Please welcome Utkarsh Joshi to read the minute.
Good evening, dear Toastmasters and fellow guests.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. The speaker today will be attempting his icebreaker speech. The purpose of the speech is to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of the speech. And please note the time for the speech will be 4 to 6 minutes.
And the topic of the speech is less is more. Please welcome Toastmaster Richard D'Souza. Richard D'Souza for you.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster and distinguished guests. When I was studying in St. Aloysius Collegiate High School in Bangalore 50 years ago, few of my friends, or many of them, they were coming by imported cars. Dodge, Plymouth, Mercedes, so forth and so on. I was nursing a sense of deprivation. Why did my father own a car? Why I should have come by bus? Class reunion held last year after 50 years, and I found that those rich people today degenerated, and many of them have deteriorated in their social and economic status. Few of them are no more in this world, unfortunately. Few of them are on the streets, and few of them are spending their life in penury. When I compare my life to them, I found that I'm a little bit better than them. And there are so many well-meaning people who have supported me. It is worthwhile to recall them. First and foremost are my parents. I was born to Mr. Francis Joseph D'Souza and Mrs. Benny D'Souza at a large coffee estate at Chikmagalur. My dad was a manager there, and we were given a big bungalow. Many servants at our beck and call, and also children of laborers to play with. Life was fun, but a dastardly tragedy struck on our entire family, I can say. Yes, I was afflicted with polio, and I was 2 years old then. And it was the greatest brunt on my mom. My mom had to rush me to Mumbai for treatment. The savings of the family dwindled, and most worst effect was on my younger brother who was just born. My mom could not pay him proper attention. Despite that, they encouraged me to stand my own legs, and today I am standing in my own legs, literally. I did my BCom in St. Lucia's College in Bangalore, and thereafter I joined MCom, Bangalore Gangotri, the present headquarters of Bangalore University. After working about 1.5 years, I got an appointment in New Bangalore Port. I joined there. There I worked again 1.5 years. Then later on, I moved into Vijaya Bank. Vijaya Bank was a private sector bank at that time. But I joined that bank the year next to the International Women Year when it was declared. And my chairman, late Sundaram Shetty, he had taken a lot of women as employees. One was looking like Sharmila Raghu, another was looking like Vaijayantimala, another like Jayaprada. So beautiful. And I had genuine fear whether these beautiful women will accept me. But to my dismay and to my surprise, I found that I was very much gleaming. From there onwards, no looking back. Employees, my colleagues, they always found that I should move a better position than what I was in, and they encouraged me to go for promotions, and always good word was there. I was never discriminated upon, but only encouraged. And yes, next, yes, it was managing the positions all through. I did them very good, and I was always appreciated for that. I am really grateful even for my brothers who encouraged me. I had 5 brothers and 1 sister. They really took very much care of me. And meanwhile, I married Ida, was an employee of Syndicate Bank, Mumbai. She resigned in 2000 year, and she is a homemaker now. Toastmasters had taken me to places which I would not have reached otherwise. I retired in the year 2014. Blissfully, I also was blessed with a grandchild. We have been growing together, and every day I am doing a new thing, just to keep me engaged. It also gives me a good sleep. I have two sons, both married. One is in India and one is in Germany. One granddaughter and son. My dream in life is to spread cheerfulness all around, and the motto of my life is to make this world better. And whenever I'm facing challenges, I look into myself, and I found that the less the choices, the better things I did. Therefore, I say less is more.
A truly inspirational life, motivating. Thank you, Richard D'Souza, for enlightening us with your life story. Thanks again. The next speaker, who will be evaluated by a past president. I've seen the speaker who's going to evaluate. Ayappa will be evaluating the next speaker. I've seen the transformation that's happened in him since he's become a member in the committee. As a president, I saw the transformation that brought him, the confidence that he got in himself. He runs his own organization. He will be evaluating the pathway, presentation mastery. The project title is Understanding Your Own Communication Style. This Toastmaster joined the club as a virtual member. And this is his first meeting in any physical form. He loves to travel. He's been a keen enthusiast of Indian music and our own ancient culture. He works as an application consultant at an electronic testing and measurement company, an engineering graduate from our own BMS College of Engineering. The title of the speech, Anudev Karma Vakyam. I think I got it right. Please welcome the speaker, Abhirama, onto the stage.
Guys, the CEO just passed away. That was one of my colleagues shouting out from his cubicle on a bustling Friday afternoon in our office. There was absolute pin drop silence. We all jumped out of our cubicles in absolute disbelief, unable to even comprehend what we just heard. Because the CEO had addressed all of us in an all-hands meeting just a couple of hours back. A few moments later, I saw the CEO walking down the aisle towards us from the other side of the building. I was relieved, and all of us were angry at this wonderful colleague who created such a scene. And he shouted again, "Hey guys, look, he's coming this way now. You wanted to speak to him, right? Go reach him." My dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening.
Good evening.
What my over-enthusiastic colleague actually meant was, the CEO just passed by. Just one wrong usage of a word or a sentence or even a hand gesture could get us in big trouble. And this is the reason why being able to communicate effectively is one of the most desirable skills in today's world. Communication is a two-way process of reaching mutual understanding through verbal, non-verbal, or written messages. Communication style is the way in which individuals interact with each other and the messages they send through their behaviors. Each one of us in this room has our own communication style, but the Toastmasters International has categorized them all into 4 styles. And they are very easy to remember, especially when you're standing on a dais. I mean, DIAS. D for direct communication style, I for initiating, A for analytical, and S for supportive. All of us will fall into one of these styles. And it is important to identify our primary communication style so that we are aware of our communication needs, and this self-awareness would help us improve the way we communicate with others, especially with those with a different communication style. If I were to associate myself with one of these communication styles, it has to be A for Abhirama, yeah. Analytical communication style. So these analytical communicators are very data driven. They love facts and figures. They are self-reliant, purposeful, and sometimes diplomatic. I must say they can be over-obsessed with data. Now this communication style has helped me in many ways in different situations. However, I have had my problems interacting with people who don't really go by facts and figures. Once I was part of a planning meet organized by the president of our sales organization. He was very happy with the performance of the team. He acknowledged all of us and said, "Friends, last year we saw fantastic revenue growth. We went ahead of our competition. But this year, we plan not only to go ahead of our competition, but we need to dominate. So I call this year the year of domination." There was a thunderous round of applause in the hall that reminded me of Toastmasters. But I was not at all impressed. Because the analytical communicator in me was thinking, what does this guy mean by domination? Because Toastmaster Priyanka might say that domination means 35% market share. And Toastmaster Vivek will not be happy with anything less than 50% market share. So I wanted the president to quantify domination. Now if I look back, was the president really wrong in what he said? Maybe not, because he was trying to boost the morale of the organization with some motivational words and inspire people to do well the next year. So this brings us to the fact that every communication style has its own merits and demerits. And we need to adapt to ways of communication that best suits the listener and the situation we are in. No matter what our primary communication style is, we need to be aware of a few simple rules of effective communication laid out by Krishna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He says, and I quote, "Anudvega karam vakyam, satyam priyahitam chayat, swadhyaya bhyasanam chaiva, vangmayam tapa uchyate." Let us break this down. Anudvega karam vakyam. Udvega means anxiety. Anudvega is the opposite. So when you communicate, do not create anxiety in the minds of the listener. So your speech should not agitate the minds of the listener. And such a speech should also be satyam, truthful, priya, pleasant. Not only pleasant, but also hitam. It must be beneficial to the listener. And your speech should also be backed by swadhyaya, which is thorough self-study. Ladies and gentlemen, when we communicate, if we do not agitate the minds of the listener, if our speech is truthful, pleasant, and beneficial to the listener, and if our speech is backed by thorough self-study, we are certainly on the path to become the best communicators of the world. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Abhirama, for enlightening us the importance of communication. The next speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Priyanka Rana. Rana, right? Priyanka. She's been the past VP Public Relation, a very bubbly character, person, and ability to. Can you read the guidelines of the next speech?
Very good evening, one and all. The speakers attempting project 2 in level 2 of presentation mastery, and the purpose of the project is for the member to deliver a speech with awareness of intentional and unintentional body language, as well as to learn, practice and refine how he or she uses non-verbal communication when delivering a speech. Timer, please note the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanka. The topic is Man Plans, God Laughs. When you look at the speaker the first time, he radiates calmness. The speaker is a senior manager at Nokia. He is very active in different community services and is on board of many NGOs. He is also a trainer in meditation, pranic healing. His hobbies are reading and listening to music. He believes many of our problems can be solved through practice of kindness, integrity and discipline. Please welcome Toastmaster Lokesh onto the stage.
As children, we had lots of dreams. How many of you are living your childhood dreams? 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you very much. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests.
Good evening.
Today, I would like to share with you how at various stages of my life, I had plans, my career, but what God actually had other plans. So when I was 5-year-old kid, there are two people in my life who had a very great influence on my thinking. My mother, a very pious lady who cultivated the spiritual values and moral values within me. And for everything else, good or bad, I was influenced by my brother, who's 3 years elder to me. So at the age of 5 years, one day my brother came to me and he told, Lokesh, the soldiers who die in the battlefield, they attain immortal glory. वो अमर हो जाते हैं. And for a 5-year-old, if immortal glory is good for my brother, it's good for me. So at the time, I decided that I want to join the defense services and become a soldier. In one of the postings of my father's job posting, our home was very near to an Indian Air Force base. And seeing the fighter jets fly overhead, I decided at the age of 5 years that I wanted to become a fighter jet pilot. And then, fast forward, 9th standard, I learned that you can get into the flight branch of Indian Air Force if you have an NCC certificate. So I joined NCC in the school. However, in the 10th standard, when I read the eligibility criteria for NDA, it mentioned applicants must not wear spectacles. I was heartbroken. My life didn't have any meaning. Now, sometimes our parents, they thrust their dreams on their children. And my father told me, Lokesh, you can serve the country by becoming a doctor. My pious mother, she said, Lokesh, you can serve the country with Mother Teresa as a role model. And what did I do? So I took biology in the 11th standard along with maths as an additional subject. After my 12th standard, I appeared for various exams for medical college, entrance exams. I didn't clear. I didn't pass through. Finally, I managed to get a seat in an engineering college. During the engineering, maybe God wanted people to be safe. That's why I decided not to make this guy a doctor, let him tinker with the machines instead of tinkering with human beings. So in one of the years of engineering, I came across a subject of computing, and it caught my fancy. I was very much fascinated by this, so I studied deep this subject of computing. I also realized that Center for Development of Advanced Computing, CDAC, they are developing India's first indigenous supercomputer. I desperately wanted to be part of that team, something to do for my country. So I attended the course Diploma in Advanced Computing. After the course, I thought I'll get a job with CDAC and I'll be able to contribute to that. Unfortunately, didn't happen. So stepping back, let's recap. I wanted to become an Air Force pilot, and then I wanted to serve the country with Mother Teresa as the role model. I wanted to develop the first supercomputer of India. None of this happened. Man plans, God laughs. Finally, after graduation, I joined as an application programmer in one of the Fortune 500 MNC. At that time, I also came across pranic healing. Pranic healing is a modality which uses prana, the life force from sun, air and ground to heal oneself and heal other people. I liked it, I learned, I practiced. It really fascinated me a lot. I also learned meditation. I became the trainer for meditation. I helped many people become psychologically strong through meditation. I also started many businesses, and then as a professional, I joined Nokia, working in the telecommunications network. So, did I really fulfill my goals? Did I live my dreams? Let's look at this. Maybe I could not serve the country as an Air Force pilot, but then I helped so many people develop that fighting spirit. I can do it. We can do it. I couldn't cure people, but through pranic healing, I help people heal their pain, sorrow, suffering, and sickness. I couldn't serve the country as with Mother Teresa as the role model, but my businesses sponsored so many community projects worldwide. I couldn't build India's first supercomputer, but I created the technology that connects people. So did I live my dreams? Did I serve my country? Yes. I leave that to the God.
Wonderful speech. Thank you, Lokesh, enlightening us about your dreams, what you wanted to do, and what God took you to. So with this, and this has been the first session of our Toastmasters meeting. With this, we have a 10-minute break. And the voting link for the best speaker is been sent across to all the Toastmasters, and the code is 1316. Welcome back, Toastmasters, and we enter into the second session of Toastmasters of this meeting. It's a pretty interesting session. This is. It helps you to think on your feet, and the person who's going to lead you to this meeting, he feels sometime this session can be nerve-wracking. He's joined the Toastmasters Club In the year 1920, in the year 2020,
Before that.
it's nice to bring some Josh, right? He's a digital marketing trainer, passionate about stories and simple explanations. He feels Toastmasters, the best platform for improving your communication is at the Bangalore Toastmasters. Please welcome the Toastmaster, who's going to be the table topic master for the day, Manjunath, onto the stage.
Thank you, CTM Umakant, for that introduction. Chanakya once said, one who does not determine the goals cannot win. One who cannot determine the goals cannot win. The goal of table topics is to challenge you to develop impromptu communication skills, to effectively communicate by thinking on your feet, and we do this by answering questions without rehearsals. Unrehearsed questions is what you're going to answer. Dear Toastmasters, distinguished guests, good evening.
Good evening.
All right. Tables topic section. This section right here is one of the most exciting parts of this entire Toastmasters meeting. Why? Like I said, it can be nerve-wracking. But more importantly, with table topics, you will learn lots. What do I mean by lots? Lots is an acronym. When you participate in table topics, you're going to improve your listening skills. L. O, organizing. T, thinking. And S, speaking skills. Listening, organizing, thinking, speaking skills. How cool is that? Lots is what you're going to get out of table topics. Alright, so in today's session, I have a bunch of questions and it's going to be very interesting. I promise you that. You'll be given 2 minutes to talk. It would be great to have 20 minutes. You'll have 20 questions. I have 20 questions for you, but you'll have 2 minutes. Up to 2 minutes is what you can talk. By the end of the first minute, you'll get a green card up. Aaron will show that to you. 1.5 minutes, you'll have a yellow card, and at 2 minutes, you'll have a red card. Okay, it'll be great if you keep it to below 2 minutes. That way you qualify for an award as well, which is great. All right, so what are you supposed to do with the table topics? I'm going to give you the topics. How many people here like stories? Please raise your hand. Everybody that's not raising, they're lying, because everybody loves stories. We all love stories, don't we? So, it's very simple. You've got to tell a story. But all good stories have a twist, right? They have a twist. So there's a twist to this story also. And the twist is, when you tell the stories, you're going to tell those stories. You must tell the stories by using strings of questions. With questions, you're going to tell the story. Here's an example. Did Smita Roshi give me the role of a table topic master? How can I make my table topic section really awesome for my audience? Should I check on Google to find some interesting topics? What is Socratic method of storytelling? Oh, so the participants are supposed to ask questions as a way of telling story. Oh, that's interesting. Would that be very difficult for people? What if I made the stories very simple, like the fables, like hare and tortoise? Oh, did I just give away a topic? Okay, looks like that would be interesting. The only way to find out it will be interesting or not is to give it a try. So should I give this a try? You get it? So that's how you tell a story, with strings of questions. Alright. So now we are going to invite our first ever speaker. And this person has spoken very, very well on the stage for table topics in the past. So let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Alan Arhana. topic for tonight's session is, well, the hare and the tortoise. All the best to you.
Now the important question, apart from the fact as to why did Manjunath call me first, is he somehow referring to me as a hare or a tortoise? Am I too fast or am I too slow? Am I something in between? Where do I see myself? Am I part of a rat race that never really ends? Did the hare do a good thing by saying, let me just stop and take a nap? Life can wait. Is it sometimes okay not to finish a race? Has it ever occurred to you that probably the hare actually turned out to be a winner who refused to be put in the silos of a rat race? Did the tortoise actually get tricked into thinking that all this while he was the winner? Very interesting question, isn't it? So while you are thinking about all that, I'm still thinking about why did Manjunath call me first?
Very few people have the ability to bring humor with speech. Alan definitely is one of them. Wonderfully done. A round of applause to Alan. Well, the next speaker, every time I see him, is very handsome. He wears this blazer, comes always with, great looking, and he's always a champion according to me. Shreyas Johan, the second speaker of today's program. So, handsome man, tell me about your first date. Story about your first date.
Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the question mark, or tell me about your first date, can never really end because that question mark is always a question mark, right? So unless I tend to speculate as a lawyer, I can add commas and full stop and exclamation mark. But tell me about your first date. Well, he didn't tell me to be factualized, so I'll narrate maybe a fictional one. Okay. When the roads of St. Mark's was rosy as the petals of the road, was enstrand with fairy tales of romance and fuming with fire mixed with magic in the air, why not, Mr. Manjunath, open the carriage which opens the helicopter and why not I fly down and a commando brings the arrow and he shoots the heart of the girl. Her name was, why not her name be Rosie? And in that rosy evening, why not the car be a Mercedes? Or why not this evening be tonight? Any ladies in the, okay. Why romance? Why a date? I think marriage is the right thing. Eligible. Yeah, 18 is the thing. Marriage court. Yeah, tomorrow evening, Mr. Manjunath.
So, one of the trends in Bollywood is they pick up all these amazing songs from the past and they just remix it together. Sometimes you wonder what that song is about. Okay, the next one is going to be Ganesh Pai. The goose that laid the golden egg. The goose that laid the golden eggs, that's a story. So you're going to narrate that story as questions, yes.
The goose that laid the golden egg.
Yes.
Which was this goose? Was it the chosen one? How could it lay the golden eggs? And how many? Yes. And why golden? Of all. Leave some questions for me as well.
You're a chartered accountant.
And how many golden eggs? Which location? Where did this story unfold? And when did this happen? I'm inundated with all these questions in my mind. And on top of it all, I have to keep firing one question after another. Yet, this story has a moral. And what's the moral? I don't want to answer that. I want you to think and question yourself. I want you to question yourself. What is the moral? And more importantly, I want you to ask yourself, are you living by it? I want you to ask yourself, have you forgotten that? And that reminds me, my time is up.
Awesome. So again, just to clarify, this is called the Socratic method of storytelling. So the story is supposed to be in the form of the question. Okay. So it doesn't have to be the exact story, the fable, but it can be, of course, imaginary. You can go with your own, but make it in terms of in the format of questions. I hope you got that. Streams of questions is what we're looking at. Okay. So the next speaker is Puneet Surana. Please welcome Puneet Surana. So Puneet, the topic is, you will explain the first job interview. You will describe your first job interview.
Okay. I've never applied for a job because I always thought I'm unemployable. Really. But the first interview I did was fascinating. In the first year of my BBA at Christ University, you all know the Christ University, right? First year BBA, first semester, first assignment for 10 marks was this question. It said, why don't you go and interview a CEO or a founder? It so happened that it was a Saturday, and that day of all at Christ, there was a general meeting of Infosys. Why not? Because Sudhamurthy had a background at Christ, and I was really excited, wondering, I already need to interview a CEO, why not go and ask them? So I waited. My college got over at 12ish, I waited till 3, and the AGM, annual general meeting, was about to begin. And I was just waiting near the gate, because as a student I was allowed, and in walked Narayan Murthy, stomping in, and I was scared. Who wouldn't be? Looking at the icon of everybody, I was really scared, and I just couldn't approach him. He just zooped by. And I was like, oh God, the opportunity is gone. 5 seconds later, you would not believe, wouldn't you? The cameraman next to me started clicking in, and I was like, who is it? And he was like, he's the CEO. I was like, oh, CEO, wait, I have to interview. So I started walking towards him without realizing that I was on my way, and now I couldn't stop back. And I just went ahead, shook hands, and just told him, I have this assignment, will you be open to do this? He heard me for 5-10 seconds, gave me his visiting card, and he walked away to the AGM. I followed up, knowing that who would give his time of the day for a college student's assignment. 2 weeks later, he sat down with me on a telecall. I'm not making this up. You can't make this up, can you? And he gave me 2 hours for my first year's, first sem, 10-mark assignment. I got to interview the CEO of Infosys. That's my first interview. Over to you. Hard to believe.
Do we have George? Okay. All right. so next Toastmaster in this table topic speech is George. Please welcome George. The topic is the lion and the mouse. The lion and the mouse. George. Yeah.
Good evening, Toastmasters, and all my dear guests.
Good evening.
Good evening. I think CM Manjunath has brought me on spot. In the home, I always be on the other side of answering. So let me try on putting on the questioning. So, do you know the story of Lion and the Mouse? Who do you think who is stronger in between these two? And who do you think who is wiser? Is the lion or the mouse?
Mouse.
If it is mouse, having that feeble body, why do you think mouse is very wiser than the lion?
He tried to break the net which was cast on the lion.
Ganesha sits on it. Ganesh Pai sits on it.
So, you know the end of the story. So, what does finally happen? So, it's time for me to give it back to
So I have a couple more topics, but when I thought about Vaidyanathan, I thought he'll be apt for this. So please welcome Vaidyanathan for this next topic. Toastmaster Vaidyanathan, please describe the story of Titanic to us in question. Go well there.
Johnny Walker.
Spread your arms.
Johnny Walker.
It's a sadistic method or Socratic method? Ladies and gentlemen, do you know how Socrates died? He was poisoned to death. You know the reason why? Because he went around asking questions like this. I don't want to meet the fate of Socrates. So let me twist this topic a bit. So best of the leaders are the ones who break the rules. So I'm aspiring to become one. So I'm going to break the rules today. So no Socratic method, no sadistic method. I'm going to use my own method, which is Vaidyanathan's method. So now, what is the topic? He spoke something about Titanic, right? I don't watch movies, so let me link the word Titanic, which is mammoth, which is huge. What normally happens is when you take a philosophical route, you can think of two things. One is people who feel that they are the biggest, the greatest, they are the ones who sink. The recent example, the Indian cricket team. Many of the people who are seated in this audience must be a good fan of cricket. There was a match which happened recently, maybe 3 days back, between the mighty Australians and Pakistanis. It was held in the city of Karachi. And Australia scored a mammoth 503 runs in the first innings, and they put Pakistan scored 100 and something, and then Australia went on to bat and they scored 503. They felt that this is good enough for them to enforce a follow on and then get Pakistan back on to bat and then win the match easily. But the result? They were chasing down the target so stiff, and they were hardly 40 runs behind. And touch wood, that last 15 overs gave them a lease of life. So never ever be under the impression that you are big, you will sink like Titanic. So over to Socrates.
Again, it's the table topics. you get a topic, you can tweak it the way you like it, right? There's nothing like a thumb of rule or whatever you want to do that. You can just take the story the way you like it. The next speaker in the list is Smita Roshi. Please welcome Smita Roshi. So I see her as this honest person. So the story is Honest Woodcutter and the Axe. Popular female again.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Why did I ever give my name for this question section? The honest woodcutter. Why he had to be so honest? He would have got that golden axe. Was he thinking of getting it? What do you all think? Or do you know the story? So looking at the silence, I doubt whether you know it or not. But definitely, I'm sure you'll be remembering that beautiful angel that came up from the pond or river. Rajiv sir says river. He has changed it to well. So where was that well?
Behind Vivek Vijayan's house.
So behind Vivek Vijayan's house there was a well, and the woodcutter was staying near Vivek Vijayan's house. In this story has happened very recently. So this is another woodcutter. His name was Velayudan. And my time is up.
So the next speaker is Jose Paul. Please welcome Jose Paul. And he's going to narrate us a story of Kuch Kuch Hota Hai.
Sir, part 2 of the last time.
Did you say Kuch Kuch Hota Hai?
Yes, sir.
Jose, please talk about your mother-in-law first.
Dear Toastmasters and guests, are you having a great evening?
Yes.
Okay, sometimes these things do happen. You know? I'm sure. Did you understand what I meant?
Yes.
All
the marriage went on that.
Now, do I look blank?
Yes.
Yes, you must be figuring out what I am about to say now, but you got me wrong. Actually, I'm blank, and I just can't think what to say. And frankly speaking, I'm not gleaming with pride in this particular topic.
You're not blank, you're frank.
Okay, but then many a time, I'm sure that you would have faced such challenges, and some things happen, and whenever these things happen, you have to be on the other side of fear. Because that's when you have the courage to come up here and stand here and face what you have to face, and I'm sure that you would go back with some courage and some learning. Did you all have any such experiences in the past?
Yes.
No.
I don't hear much from anybody here, and I think Aaron tells me that it's time to go back to my seat. So, is it okay?
Thank you. We have Toastmaster Chirant. Sorry guys, okay, thank you very much. Looks like we are run out of time for the topic. We'll do one more.
Chirant.
Okay, Chirant. Let's welcome Chirant, please. Okay, the story you told your teacher when you didn't do your homework. the story you told your teacher when you didn't do your homework.
Yes. So the story I told my teacher when I didn't do the homework. So do you think I would have gone to the school or the college when I didn't do the homework? Or what would have I done? What would have I done? Would I be in the house telling lie to my parents that the school is off when it's so obvious that the school gets the holidays only on the festival season that my parents would be easy to catch up with? So what would have I done? Would I have gone out from the house to the school, and where would I spent my time? So yes, it did happen. I've gone out of the whole house once, and I've spent my whole day in a park. So was it that easy after the next day escaping the the questions of my teachers? So it was not. So what did they ask, and what I replied? What have happened after that? I think that's where I end my story. Thank you.
So there's a gleaming example of giving it a try. So well done. I like that. Good job, Chen. Okay, one last one we can go for. So we're going to go with Sanam Sujata ma'am. Let's welcome Sanam Sujata. Your first BTMC meeting. Your first BTMC meeting experience. You have to make this.
Good evening, dear Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
What I was searching for, what I wanted to learn, where I have to learn, where did I do my research? I did my research through Google. What did I get? Did I get BTMC? What the address Google gave? Did I get Ashirwad building? Did I land it properly? No. I landed in St. Joseph High School. Why did I go to St. Joseph? I believed in Google Map. Did I blindly believe the Google Map and went? Yes, I blindly believed. Did Google Map say yes, left, right, and I literally landed in the school twice. What did I do afterwards? Did I call anybody? Yes, I did call Mr. Melvin sir. Did he lift my call? Yes. Did he guided me what to do? Did I got BTMC? Yes, I was lucky enough to get it. What did I do later? Did I hear Speechcraft program? Did I join there? Did I get into the Speechcraft? Did I join the BTMC membership? Yes, it was a really great experience. Thanks to BTMC and thanks for the nice topic, Mr. Mandira.
Okay, thank you. You are relieved now. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Over to you, Toastmaster today. Just before I leave, one last thing, folks. There is a link on your WhatsApp chat. Please click on that link. Type 1316. That's the passcode. So once you enter that in, you could vote for the best table topic speaker. 1316. Thank you, and over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manjunath. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a great session. It's something different where you could ask a lot of questions to yourselves and come out in a new way and build a whole story out there. Why did you give this topic? Why did you try this? It's something very interesting today. I think I learned a lot from asking questions to yourselves. So as we move to the next session of our meeting, this is the general evaluation. They say feedback is the champions.
Breakfast for champions.
Breakfast of champions. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. So we have Somshekhar to give the feedback of this meeting Welcome, Toastmasters Abhirama.
Thank you, Toastmaster Umakant. Aaron has got something.
Just a small and quick clarification in case of any confusion. The time to be vanished is 2 to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Aaron. Well, time of breakfast is over. Well, Toastmasters, when I hear this theme, I remember Will Smith. He uses this so often. The best things in life is, you experience the best thing once you cross those boundaries of fear. He narrates about a his experience where he goes skydiving in Dubai. Their friends, all of them, they sign up the previous night, and till the next day, the horrifying experience he had till he gets into the plane, and inside the flight he's sitting on a lap of that volunteer who's going to actually push him out at the count of 3, and then he tells how beautiful it is once he goes up to 14,000 feet and when he's thrown out there. But till then it was hell, right? So this experience of fear, most of the things we want to have everything in our comfort zone, correct? That's when we feel very safe. But it's only after you walk out of the comfort zone you will experience the best things in life. And how does that connect in Toastmasters meeting? I call it as a gym for people, not to build muscles, but then to get out of the comfort zone. You come here and practice, right? So one fact, why is that you fear? One of the most important thing, we always think, what does Vishal think about me? Or actually, what does Umakant think of me when I am coming and talking here? You always think about others. And here the evaluation session is where that other person comes and tells you what exactly he thinks about you. This is the personal opinion about the evaluator, comes and gives you feedback that might really help you to improve. However, it is left up to the Toastmasters to take that feedback or not. Today's session, what I'm going to try, or actually the feedback which I'm going to give is trying to see, are you really getting out of the comfort zone, or you are just trying to do the routine stuff here. Let's get to the meeting, which started 3 minutes 30 seconds late, which one of our past presidents in 5 years it never happened, but then the minutes of meeting when I read, they said even the last meeting was 2 minutes late, so I will not consider that. Again, kudos to our Sanjay Tom's Chaitra, because she was here at 5:45 and she was here alone setting up things here at a new place. Let's give a big round of applause. And Chaitra, if you want to really do something different, break that monotony, right? Coming here and telling those stuff in the same sequence, you can kind of come out of that, right? Come here with a bang, tell a quote or something else which you want to communicate. You had a real experience of yourself. You yourself are a great motivator to many of our members here, all of us, right? So you can break that mode which you are in. And when it comes to time, no matter what, you start the meeting at 6:30. Again, a fantastic job done, and the introduction is where you can really play around with. I know Hannah doesn't change in last, every week you come here, week after week she doesn't change, but you can always make an attempt to find out things about her. LinkedIn itself shows a lot of things about Hannah, I've seen that. There are many other avenues where probably you can give a great introduction. However, job well done. Again, a round of applause. Next, we had our secretary, Kirtana. Again, flawless minutes. Thanks, Kirtana, for noting it down. And thanks to members, because I have seen sometimes members always make a note of it, and every time they have a question, you didn't record it. But I think the members are good here. Nobody had such kind of a question for you. Well done, Kirtana. Again, remember coming out of the comfort zone. You go home today and think, how is that next time I can make the minutes different. Do you hear some sound? Is that from? Okay, if it is from the infrastructure here, I don't think we can hear.
Close.
Yeah, it's a reward. All right. Then we had our president, Toastmaster Hannah. Again, she is becoming very comfortable behind the lectern. There was no lectern today, so this podium itself, this area, I think gave ample space to really see person in life, the complete of you, all of you, Hannah. Your confidence has really rise to a very high level. That's what I would say. The smile on your face, and you use this team to talk about the current situation here, and you are trying to motivate the people. Don't be afraid. Come here, make your commitment, and be part of this whole group, right? So, well done, Hannah. And the same note to you. Try to come out of the comfort zone. All right. Try something different, and we'll see the next meeting's video if we have really done that. Great round of applause for One thing to note is the meeting venue has been changing. I think she's really been stressing upon in the group, and I see a full house here, so that's a job well done again for the committee. Kudos to the committee, and always the credit goes to the leader of the committee. We then had some great speeches today, really fantastic speeches. So before I talk about these speakers, may I call upon our first speaker's evaluator, Utkarsh, to give the feedback.
Good evening, dear Toastmasters, fellow guests.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. The meeting today has consisted a lot of wit and humor, so I'm here to bring it down. There was a...
Keep it down.
I will. Toastmaster Manjuna talked about the Socratic way of storytelling, which is a good coincidence because all I have to say regarding Toastmaster Richard's speech, I would want to start the evaluation with knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, and it's said by Aristotle. So Toastmaster Richard seems like a wise man before he speaks, but his speech showcases how he knows himself, and that confirmed it, right? Or what I looked for in his icebreaker is what I want to really elaborate on. So that if I know what I want, and then I can look for it in his speech. I wanted the basic details of who he is. What's his name? What's his parents' name? What is his family background? Where he's come from? Where he studied? Which I think he did excellently. I wanted him to say something or a few things which made him separate or which made him unique from everyone else in the group, or which made him stand out in everybody's heads when they were remembering how his speech was. I was looking for a structure in the speech, having a beginning that grabs the attention of the people, a structure that includes a good grabbable attention, and a middle, and finally a proper conclusion. It was a good thing that we were within the time limit. Time ticks away, life ticks away. It's good that he was within the time limit. And let's come to his speech title, which was "Less is More," which was very unique. It instantly got me intrigued into what the speech is going to be about. How is he going to incorporate this concept of less is more into his own introduction? He integrated where he studied into a very creative sentence rather than just simply saying it. And he attached an emotion to it. He talked about his feeling of desperation at the start, which appealed to the empathy of the people. This let people put you in there, let people put themselves in your shoes to try to understand what they would feel like if they were in your situation. Your vocabulary was amazing. Using words like dastardly to define what happened in your life was amazing. It evoked a sense of pride within yourself. You got a speech, which got an applause in the middle of your speech, which is a pretty big thing. Alright?
finally talking about what you could have done better. You started off with an appeal to your personality. You had sense of pride, a sense of emotion, a desperation that you talked about, but you couldn't carry it with your philosophy of life. That was at the end of the speech. Maybe you could have talked about it at the start itself, when you talked about what you felt that way and then what made you this way. So that's what you could have added, and some amount of information that could be taken out should have been taken out, but that's all right. Overall, an absolute pleasure listening to it. I feel like icebreakers should make people come up and talk to you during the networking break, and I felt like I needed to come up and talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Utkarsh. So if you are more than a decade years old in Toastmaster, then we had a project manual. The first speech was icebreaker, 10th speech was inspiring your audience. Today I would say Richard's speech, it was an icebreaker, but meeting all the guidelines of project number 10, inspiring the audience. I have seen this icebreaker 20 years back, so that's my privilege, and I'm so happy you are still here, part of this Toastmasters movement and inspiring all of us. The second speaker, Lord Krishna, okay, not Lord Krishna, Abhirama, okay, and his evaluator, Toastmaster Ayyappa.
CEO passed away. Ladies and gentlemen, very good evening. I have my speaker, target speaker, Toastmaster Abhirama in particular. I would like to evaluate your speech in the following 3 areas. One is the authenticity, the conviction and the hold you had on your topic. The second one is how you grabbed the audience's attention and how you gave a space for a good listening. Third one is a few areas of improvement. However you speak, there will be an area of improvement, right? These are the 3 areas I'm going to evaluate your speech. You started your speech brilliantly, okay? That you had a surprise, and finally you revealed, this is what it is. Brilliant. And you just explained the different what is communication is all about, and what are the different types of communication, analytical, direct, blah blah. Then you told us the type of communication, the communication style you have, that is analytical. And you had a solid example to substantiate the why you are having that type of communication. And finally, you spoke about a few lines from Bhagavad Gita explaining why, it's not about the type of communication what we have, but we have to adapt to the different type of communication. It was brilliant. Now, having said that, you have a couple of areas of improvement, like it's from my perspective, my point of view. The first one is, you could have spent more time in explaining your type of communication. I felt it was very just, it was kind of very short story, right? The second one is your closing could have been much better because you start with a bang, like CEO died, because as your speech went on, it tapered down, I felt, okay? That's one thing. And I couldn't, to be honest, I could not get the good and the proper takeaway from your speech, right? I know that you're a very good speaker, I've listened to many speeches, but you could have done much better. And the final one was, because it is all about communication, there's a huge scope to play with your words, your body language, right? You could have done much better. That's one area of improvement. Having said that, in fine, you are a brilliant speaker, and today you delivered yet another fantastic speech, and I'm sure you'll do a fabulous job in going ahead. Congratulations and all the best for your future speeches. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ayyappa and Abhirama. Okay, Abhirama. Again, an inspiring speech. The most important or noticeable thing in a speech is how you open the speech. So they say, if you give 10 seconds to the audience, they will take out the phone and they will be on WhatsApp or Facebook. This is the reality. So you need to engage the audience in the first 10 or 20 seconds, and that's what exactly he did. The kind of curiosity he aroused, that was a brilliant Abhirama, and our evaluator Ayappa did give you some tips on improvement, but I was really impressed the first time actually I heard your speech. Let's all give him a thunder. And our third speaker, Toastmaster Lokesh, may I call upon his evaluator Priyanka. Please welcome.
Once again, a very good evening, one and all, and Toastmaster Lokesh in particular. Firstly, I loved your speech. It was very well structured. It had good humor, self-humor, and it is considered people who can create good self-humor are creative. And you were gleaming in that area. And that showed, and the way you weave your speech showed your creativity. As your purpose of your speech was to evaluate you on your body language, which involves posture, movements and gestures. And as we all know, as important the content of a speech is, your body language is equally important as it enhances your speech. And the areas that you excelled on, I will first start with that. Firstly, what I liked is you started with a question, making it interactive, and you got the audience involved. Second, the movement. Your movements were apt. You very well divided the stage when you were presenting the different transitions during your speech. You stepped back when you were referring a past incident, which was a very good one of the body language movements. The next, your posture. Posture involves something that you equally balance yourself when you're standing and presenting, and I felt you were point on in that. You neither were concentrating your body weight on a particular area. You were well balanced. Third, gestures. So there are 4 types of gestures: descriptive, empathetic, suggestive, and prompting. In my opinion, your predominant gestures were descriptive, slightly a little bit empathetic, and prompting. And to people who do not know what prompting gesture is, it is something that involves audience response. Your eye contact was apt. The areas, in my opinion, if you may consider, which would take your speech a notch higher, firstly is to understand your stage. What I felt sitting there was, you were standing more towards the front, so people sitting this side, it gets a little obstructed because of the table. So if you could have, got a little behind and then used the stage, it would have been, your body language would have been more clearer for people. Your second area that you need to work on will be on your facial expressions. I felt throughout the speech, most of the time you were more serious. In very slight sections, you were smiling. Probably during the time when there was slight humor, only on those sections you were smiling, otherwise it was a little more serious. Then one of the predominant unintentional movement which I observed was clasping hands, which I think most of us do have. It is kind of ingrained in us, but otherwise I didn't find anything else different of unintentional movements. Probably these areas if you could concentrate on. And the fourth point that I would also suggest you will be on your vocal variety. There was not much of a vocal variety. Even though your content and your speech was good, I felt you could have used a little bit more of vocal variety. Example, when you were mentioning that you dreamt to become a jet flight pilot, if you could stress a little more on that. And then when that did not happen, if you could just, brought down your voice a little, showing the disappointment. Like these certain things were missing in your speech. So if you could probably concentrate on those. Overall, I enjoyed your speech. I loved your title because it's very, very relatable. Because I think most of us plan a lot of things, but it doesn't happen. Like God laughs for it. Overall, yes, that's all. I wish you all the best, and I look forward for more speeches from you.
Thank you, Priyanka. I not say your last line. And Lokesh, your speeches has always been thought-provoking for me. And today you demonstrated that again. Brilliant speech. Let's give a big round of applause. One improvement area which I probably would agree with Priyanka as well. You need to really loosen up a little bit, very stiff on body language, and I thought it was purposeful. On the heart you showed like this. So that's one area probably you can avoid. You can be really very natural because your content of speech is so beautiful and the flow of words also is fantastic, right? So with that, we are looking forward to some more inspirational, thought-provoking speeches. Thank you very much. Next, I think the link to vote for the best evaluator is out there. I think every vote is important, right? So let me vote too. Thank you. And the next person who came here and really lit up the hall is our table topic master. Now let's do it in his style. How did he perform today? Was he creative? Yes. Was creative. Brilliant. How much time did he take before calling the first person? I think as a table topic master, one of our objective is to cover as many or give an opportunity to as many members as possible. That's one area probably you can actually cut down a little, Manya. But we all know what a creative person you are, and the titles or actually the topics were also brilliant, and I'm sure all of us loved those things, although many of us just blabbered here whatever comes into your mind. Maybe sometimes I feel you could have a mix of things, because some people really, there are a lot of guests also who come in today, they think, oh, table topics, is it actually what happens here? Probably one or two table topics which are actually straightforward, where people can really organize your thoughts. So you said actually lots, that was brilliant. Acronym always works, I think you know that. However, we could not really use that. I don't think anybody used, but it was really an enjoyable session. So for lighting up this room with energy and laughter, let's give a round of applause. I missed another person who played a key role here today, my dear friend Toastmaster Umakant, who I think is going to pay the lifetime membership for Toastmasters. For 20 years he has been paying, so as well you can pay for the next 20 years, Umakant. I have seen Umakant grow in this club like me, who, we couldn't utter a single word those days. And I could also make out that Claudius here is your mentor. Because today, Umakant was really screaming. Richard D'Souza! Immediately I remember Claudius Pereira is his mentor. See, that's how mentors play a great role in Toastmasters. I'm not saying good or bad, but then, they have a great influence. But finally, Umakant, he introduced all the speakers very nicely. Only the area of improvement, Umakant, might be the pauses, what you're giving. I felt it is a bit too long. So make it actually very natural. That's my only suggestion. I know you have been working on that. So we all used to fumble on this. But today I see you are in a different level altogether. So that's one area you can bring in, that very natural side of speaking can be brought in here. Otherwise, he has prepared so well. He has been actually communicating with all the assignees, or actually the role takers today. Let's all give a big round of applause. I now call upon the tag team. I think we'll start with Aaron Kamath, the timer. He just came on time. Mr. Adam.
Toastmasters and guests. I have a clean and green report to give you all. Most of us were within our time. Sergeant asked Toastmaster Chaitra 3 minutes and 10 seconds. President Toastmaster Hannah 7 minutes and 10 seconds for her speech, and Secretary Toastmaster Geeta 2 minutes and 10 seconds. From the speaker side, all within their prescribed time. From the evaluators, all barring Toastmaster Priyanka were on time. Toastmaster Priyanka exceeded by 50 seconds with 3 minutes and 50 seconds. On table topics, most were within the 2-minute threshold, with only Toastmasters Puneet exceeding by 10 seconds and Toastmaster Vaidyanathan exceeding by 5 seconds. Also, the tea break extended to 12 minutes instead of 10 minutes. That is my report.
Thank you. And our counter, Mani Kandan Krishnamurthy, is one person.
So it was a gaming meeting today, and I was looking for the support words what people were using. Most of them it was flawless, most of the speakers. Few Toastmasters of the day had long pauses, few long pauses. Speaker 1, Richard D'Souza, had a couple of long pauses and also used R sound. And apart from him, Lokesh had one long pause, Alan had one, Puneet, George had a couple of them, and Smita had one. And the evaluators, Ayyappa had 3 hours, and Priyanka a couple of hours.
Thank you much. Applause really sound really great in this hall, right? Because of the and let's welcome our grammarian Vivek Vijayan.
Let me start with a shout out to the people who use the word of the day, that is glee, that is Toastmasters Mr. D'Souza, Toastmaster Umakant, Jose and Manjunath, and of course Manikandan just now. Let me also read out 3 good usages of English language. That was, one was nursing a sense of deprivation. Second one was spending their life in penury. The third one is silos in the rat race. So coming to the usages that could have been slightly better, just one is running nose. There is no running nose. Nose does not run. Okay, it is runny nose. Runny means a liquid that flows. Okay, when your nose is not stopping there, it's flowing, it's called runny nose. Nose does not run, it's not running nose. Okay? Then comes self-humor. See, it's not self-humor, there is not self-humor is humor that you have created yourself. When it is a humor upon yourself, you have to call it self-deprecating humor. Having said that, English is a very funny language, and I think Adi Shankara realized it as early as in 10th century, because if you have since he quoted scriptures, I will take the opportunity to quote the scriptures. He had told, Samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati, dukrin karane. That means, at the time of your death, the rules of grammar will not save you. So forget English grammar, speak whatever you want.
We need to really send an application to headquarters having a Sanskrit Toastmasters Club. We got a president, we have got VPE, right? We put the other members together. Today, Vivek sent that link in WhatsApp, right? And it's called Wordle. So how many of you know about that? Wordle. Yeah, it went viral in December 2021, and that's been used by youth and actually across the world, right? And you know the story behind that. It's basically to engage his girlfriend, this guy does it. Wardle, I think, Wardle is his name. Again, the fact is, this is a platform where you can be so creative, you can actually try out experience, you can educate people, you know, like how Lokesh was telling, we all had dreams. Those dreams can really come out in different forms. Right? Education means you need not actually open the school. Little things you do in the forum here can also open the eyes of a lot of other people. Today, Abhirama had given us a project guideline in the Sanskrit when he explained that. Right? So it's brilliant. It's all about education, right? And I think we left actually one person who's the member of TAG Yel Team, Dr. Mohan Kumar. Yeah.
Today it was a very humorous meeting. I enjoyed a lot actually. So this is my last floor. last one I am doing, sir. What did Kamala Hassan speak? Who spoke about Kamala Hassan?
Hannah Victoria.
Sorry.
I pretend I am careless. Oh, who is Benny D'Souza?
Mother of Richard.
Who said less is more?
Richard.
What is the expansion of DIAS? DIA.
Direct, initiative, analytical, supportive.
Who wanted to become a doctor but missed it? And also
Lokesh.
who is the lawyer in our group?
Yes.
Who is studying BBA in Christ University?
Was.
What happened in Karachi? Try to come out of comfort zone. Then clasping of hands. Who commented? Who told you?
Somshika said to Lokesh.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a 25 mark question, but this question will give you another 25 mark. What was the title of Abhirama's speech? Who will say? I think Rajdeep will definitely say that. Okay. Alright, nobody gets it.
No. Hey, Abhirama Sell is right, man.
Yes, sir, it's right.
Toastmaster Chaitra, any other voting to be done? Now, the last one is? Okay, fantastic. So before I hand over to Toastmaster Umakant, so if you look at the science of fear, so they say there's something called a lizard brain inside our brain. There's a scientific term which I can't recollect it now, but it's also called as a lizard brain. That acts, basically it's for survival. So we all actually, you know how we all live, right? It is for survival. But it doesn't distinguish between a danger or actually a new learning experience. So they say the best way to tackle fear, or actually when you want to come out of uncomfort zone, you want to give a speech tomorrow and the previous day itself, you start imagining all the things that, what could fail, right? So the best way to deal with this, you don't kill the fear, but dance along with this. This is pretty normal. Everyone will experience fear. So that is the basic instinct, or actually brain behaves that way. So there's nothing to be worried about. When that fear comes in your mind, you feel happy that, okay, I'm learning something new. I'm trying to do something new. I'm going to experience something new. So thank you very much, Toastmasters. I again give back the direction back to Toastmaster Umakant.
Thank you, Toastmaster Somshekar. It was a very good general evaluation session, and I love the way he does it. Another round of applause to Toastmaster Somshekar. Well, it's been a pleasure for me to host this meeting, and I'd like to thank everybody in this committee, and particularly Toastmaster Smriti Roshi, who given me this opportunity. Smita. I don't know why I'm getting all the names wrong today. Yeah, I think the voting link for the roll takers is there, and people can vote for it. Yeah, before I end the session, danger is real, fear is just in the mind. Let's break that barrier and take up the new roles and opportunities that we get. Over to the President.
Yeah, before we announce the winners, a few announcements to be made. Next week, 25th of March, we're having our meeting back in Ashirwad.
Yeah.
And we have a special guest who will do a session. He's from Mumbai. Basically, he's been a monk turned CEO. His company was the one which designed the Aadhaar card. So it will be a very good session. He's giving us a topic. We will mention it on the group, and I look forward. The committee looks forward to all of you present there, because this gentleman, he's coming down to Bangalore for some work, and he obliged to stay back. So and I'm sure he's only going to do a 10-minute speech, and 20 minutes will be question and answers. So it will be well worth your time. So look forward to you coming there. And the speechcraft session has started. This next session, the second session, will happen this Sunday. And I also urge a few of the Toastmasters to come be as evaluators. If anybody wants to evaluate, you're free just for a couple of hours. It starts at 10 and ends at 1, but the evaluation session, it's not a couple of hours, it's 3 hours which you'll have to sit through, but it will be good if your support, if we get your support as well. Yes, and then that's it. We may have another speechcraft session starting in April. The details we'll inform you a little later. Yes, and the first time guests. How many of you are first time guests here? Okay, great. If you can please come over and mention your name and how did you know about Toastmasters and how did you find this meeting? Sir, please come. Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Satyan. I came to know through my nephew Sheraz, and that's how he got me here.
Come, the pastry chef.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Good evening, my fellow speech crafters and all the guests.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
I am really, delighted with the experience what I am getting here. I got to know this from a friend of mine who has completed the speechcraft course. So he suggested me this, and upon recommendation from a lot of people in the BTMC, me and my friend ended up coming here and witnessing how great the community is.
What's your name?
My name is Sanket. So I'm really glad to be a part of this journey, and I think I'll associate myself in the longer run with BTMC. Thank you.
He's also doing his speechcraft.
Yes. Hello everyone, my name is Jason. I am a software developer. I came to know about speechcraft through my friend Jainam. By looking at his conversation skills, I wanted to be like him. So that's why
Please come. Please come.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
My name is Namita. Actually, I have stage fear. I'm very thankful to Mr. Chetan. I'm one of my colleagues. Thank you everyone.
Good. Please come.
Good evening everyone present here. So my name is Sohan. I'm an engineering student. So I mainly got to know about the Toastmasters speechcraft is through the website. So I just wanted to get rid of stage fear and then become a better communicator. So that is the reason I joined.
Very good. I also take the opportunity to thank Toastmaster Lokesh. It is because of his arrangement that we're able to meet today. Otherwise, we would have conveniently switched to an online meeting. But thanks to him, we now have the results ready. The best Taggle team player goes to Toastmaster Vivek Vijay. The best table topic speaker goes to Toastmaster Alan Arana. The best evaluator, there are two awards. One is the first one goes to Toastmaster Priyanka Ranore. And the second one goes to our past president, Toastmaster Ayappa.
Smile, Ayappa.
Thank you.
The best table topic speaker, also there are two. The second one goes to the poet in the house, Toastmaster Shreyas Johan.
Think of Rosie. Don't hit Rosie.
The best role taker award goes to Toastmaster Somshekar. And the best speaker award goes to Toastmaster Abhirama KS. Thank you all once again, and it has been a great meeting, and look forward to seeing you next week.